Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of MBA Talks. This is Anusha from Careers 360, and today we have Pratyush with us, who is currently pursuing MBA from IIT Bombay. Hi Pratyush.
Hi Anusha, glad to be here.
Same here, same here. Thank you for joining us today. So Pratyush, can you tell us something about yourself and your profile?
Yep, definitely. Like few things about me, right? So first of all, I come from an army background. That is like my dad is still serving in Indian Army. By virtue of which I had kept on moving across the cities. Then Mumbai is my 16th city of residence. So I have plenty of experience in and around different states in India. Changed around 11 schools from KG to 12th, and finally found myself in NIT Surathkal, which is where I did my final like mechanical engineering. I pursued my mechanical engineering in degree, but always was interested into the business side of it or the entrepreneurship side of it. So kept on getting involved in a lot of those activities, and also had the opportunity to serve as a president for the student union of NIT Surat. So that was some amazing leadership experience I had. Post that, ended up actually joined corporate. So I joined a company called ExxonMobil. It's world's largest publicly traded oil and gas company, and where again I had opportunity of actually be part of a lot of different teams. So I was part of sales team from an operations side. So it was inside sales team. Then I joined the product management team in a data science division. And thereafter, I ended up actually pursuing sales full time, a B2B sales role, wherein I was for one of the segment handling the entire South India and West India region. So that was around 48 months of experience. And then sort of the MBA Kira struck me probably a little late than others. So that way I come up with a little heavy work ex. Then I myself found pursuing like the MBA opportunity per se, and IIT Bombay sort of became one of the niche area where I thought I would be interested in. And obviously there are like it's a game of choice and also chance. The entire MBA experience. So IIT Bombay was right there in the center for me, and I joined here. And currently also I'm serving as a general secretary for the student union at SJMSOM IIT Bombay. So that has been my pretty much my journey.
Okay, great, Pratyush. So, which MBA entrance exams did you appear for?
So for me, it was probably a little straightforward. I just went for CAT, right? So actually, I was always confused whether should I probably be giving GMAT or CAT because I had a little higher work ex. But then, based on my conversations with a couple of them, they told me that it's like not really great. Also for a 2 year MBA, yes, the sweet spot is a little earlier, but CAT is also something which you can go for. So I ended up finally going for CAT.
Okay. So how much did you score in CAT?
So my final percentile was 98.94. That is the percentile which I ended up scoring. I had a pretty good DILR score. I had a 99.99 percentile in DILR. So that was my strong suit per se, and the overall was 98.94.
Okay. So Pratyush, when did you start preparing for CAT?
So I was pursuing a full-time job, right? So I was not for me, I was very confused whether should I go full-time preparation or probably not, because this was my first attempt and I didn't really had previous any attempts per se. While I saw my friends actually probably dropping out of their job and pursuing a full-time coaching and stuff like that. So I didn't really had a formal training. So what I realize is probably if I catch is something which I would want to give, I would really just want to brush up my the quants and the verbal part of it. So for that, I was like, briefly touching it from July itself, July of 2022. Kept on like every day. Again, just brushing up my old formulas and stuff like that. So every day I would spend, let's say, around an hour and so in the morning before my like full-time job, and then come back and only during the weekends give some kind of a mock test here and there. And then for DILR, actually, I self-tutored myself through YouTube. So, like DILR is something which people are generally pretty scared of, to whatever extent I heard. And even I was thinking, should I probably go full time into a coaching and try to understand? But I ended up just self tutoring myself through YouTube. videos and everything, and it did really work for me in my case at least, right? So there is no strict answer to it. When did I formally start? But July is when sort of I started getting bugged into this circle.
Okay. So, like, how did you manage your CAT preparation with the job? How did you schedule your timings?
Yeah. So honestly, I think in this era of FOMO, right, everybody wants to do everything, and then if you really think that you want to cover up all the boxes, it becomes really difficult. So what I realize, and this is my sales discipline, which has taught me, this you really need to be very strict with your calendar, right? One thing which the corporate experience teaches you well, but has to imbibe in your personal life also. So I had a very heavy sales job. So just to share a fact with you, from I think July to December of the previous year, that is like when I was in job, I had taken close to around in 6 months. I've taken close to 72 flights. Right, so I was actually traveling like in a day. There were days in 24 hours I hopped into four states, not cities, four states. So what I realized is you need to be very disciplined with your calendar. So come what may, let's say 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I was not over ambitious with my approach also. It's not like I promised myself 4 hours or 5 hours of daily training. I told myself, like, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. is like, let's say 1.5 hours or 2 hours is something which I would dedicate myself every day. And that is something which me and my roommate, so my roommate was like essentially preparing for GMAT. So I was like, why not just, tag along with him and start some cons and verbal. That is, and honestly, the real answer how I was preparing. So I'll tag along with him. So I would space that, like, in my calendar already had always have 5 to 7 a.m. block, whether it's a airport, whether it's a flight, whether it's actually once I was in a team outing at in Goa, and we were staying in Grand Hyatt Goa, and every morning I would wake up again at 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., do my piece of it, and then uh, like follow my day, right? So that is something which I made sure that I would promise to myself to have that slot always there. And once 7 a.m. is done, I have a regular job. I'm having evening parties because I'm from sales. So you have a lot of customer dinners and you have like moving out to different cities for dinner. I'm having my normal social life and a work life. But those 2 hours or 1 hour in the morning is something which I was dedicating.
Okay. So, for your CAT preparation, what resources were you referring to?
Right. So for my CAT preparation, I went again in a very frugal way. So DILR was self-tutor through YouTube. So whatever YouTube link I would get, there were like, I remember 4 hours videos. I would watch it in 2x just to cover up, just to get a feel of it. Okay, okay, I'm getting it right. So that was entire YouTube. For the entire section of cons and verbal, actually my friend who he was preparing for GMAT full time, right? So there was a local tutor here who he was referring to, and I used to just hang on to his material and start solving it. So even though I had bought those typical CAD books, I am guilty of some of those students who have really bought the books and not really, every page has not seen the day of the light, right? So my books were also somehow similar, but I used to like just check what he is studying and just get into that. So it was, if you ask me, a very bad example of how you should prepare, probably you should be more structured. But what I'm a good example is have that dedicated time slot. That is more important. Like whether you're YouTubing yourself, whether you are having formal tutor, whether you are following any XYZ coaching center, discipline is something which gets you there, right? So that is something which is really important. For me, my 2 cents are that, right? It's not really important for which kind of coaching center or which kind of institute or tutor you're following. It's important to be disciplined, and if you're really following, and it's a good thing that you can follow a tutor, you should be making sure that they are also disciplined to give you, right? They are not really working on their whims and fancies. So that is something which my experience will tell you.
Okay, right, right. So, would you like to point out few important topics that a CAT aspirant must focus on?
So honestly, I do get these questions a lot. Like, what is a good topic and all? It's a very dangerous question for me to answer, right? So I don't really know that what will be that if year's flavor. Whether they like it's never the same, right? So you don't really know that this year they are suddenly focusing a lot on this, and then your CAT is a year-long exam, so you might not want to take that risk. So my understanding on this, and this is my way of personal way of doing it. Um, Go and make sure that you at least touch all the subjects. So because in my opinion, MBA is a like a breadth course. Like it's a wide course, unlike a MTech, which is like an in-depth course. So here also when you come, you are expected to be like affluent to everything in some sense or the other. I'm pursuing a general management course, so for me it's even more. So I need to have a little bit of understanding of finance, marketing, operations, and whatnot. Again, that is the same flavor you might want to follow before your MBA, actual MBA journey kicks in. And for me, I will probably, again, if you ask me, I might not put saying that this particular topic is important. Have a flavor of actually going through everything and then focus on the mock exams. That will tell you which area probably you want to focus. And it's a very subjective and very personalized question rather than actually just these are the topics which you really have to focus. But between the three, quant, DILR, and verbal, I personally felt DILR is somewhere where a lot of people do have like that fear, so to say. If you are able to make sure that you're practicing well your DILR, it gives you an edge because honestly, I really had a 99% DILR in DILR and that really boosted my score a lot. So quant and verbal has more competition, in my opinion. Again, that people are preparing well and they are little scared of DILR and they're not really focusing on DILR. Well. For me, I would probably say DILR is the game changer. At least in my case, it was.
Okay. So Pratyush, you're from an engineering background, right? So, it is said that VARC is usually difficult for engineers. They find it a very difficult section. Was it the same for you, or was it any different?
Yeah, it was same for me. So verbal was where it was the Waterloo for me. For some reason, was never able to understand why this particular option is correct and that is wrong. So to say it.
Okay. So this was the most challenging part.
Yep. And again, if I have to share my opinion on that, VARC, I tried reading a lot and doing a lot of theory and all that didn't help. It is essentially the questions when you're solving, that is only giving the flavor. And again, I will be honest here, VARC was not my strongest suit and turned out to be not my strongest score also. So that's why I realize again to back to my answer, right? It's your personalized uh, choice of how do you want to take it up. So did I leave VRC altogether? No, but then DILR was something which I had a knack on. So I made sure I strategically get edge or go ahead in terms of DILR and probably quants and sort of give my VRC some kind of leverage to these scores. So I knew VRC might not be my strongest suit, and keep on focusing on that didn't really would not really help. So that is something which I ended up doing.
Okay. So what was the exam day strategy that you followed?
I examined the strategy. Pre-exam was chilling. Okay, so I really like you were one day before you were. I think my dad came into the city, and then we went for a car trip or a drive and all that. So before exam, I would say it is really important for to stay calm. That is really important. My exam day itself was very stressful. So I was in sales role, right? So on Sunday the exam is, and I have to go 50 kilometers and take a flight for a like a training which I'm going to go do in Gurgaon. So I was hopping around and I was really tense at that time. But what you have to do is like just take it chill because last day you won't be able to whatever you do you will not be able to take it up again into what you want to read. I honestly ended up watching my YouTube videos of DILR, my favorite part of it, right? So that I did, but then just to get a sense of it, ki last minute tips to share and all these things which everybody will share. So I was like, why not to do it? Coming back to exam day, so I exam day, like took very like there was just because I honestly I didn't really get a formal tutor per se, right? So nobody was there to tell me that this is what you have to follow. That is like this is the sequence. So I went very simple method. I went spent like one or two attempts in solving the question. If not, go ahead, right? That is how I went ahead with. So did it really help me everywhere? No. Like honestly, with the quant section, I did end up, honestly not doing that well to what I expected to, because I did end up losing some time in between the last few questions, even though they might be easy. I was not able to handle, and my preparation was like as I told you, I was sort of preparing through my friend the GMAT piece of it. Sometimes it was not the best way of preparing because it's not the same subject. So I realized that was the issue, but then I did the same thing. Spend one or two attempts. If it works out, doesn't work out, you go to another question and leave that question altogether. So my exam prep was or exam strategy was very like straightforward.
Okay. So for all the CAT aspirants who are starting their CAT preparation now, so according to you, how should they begin?
So according to me, honestly, don't get overwhelmed with the plethora of information you have over the internet. There are many, let's say I was YouTubing, like the worst place probably to prepare because of the fact that you will have so much content and everybody giving their own gyan that you don't really know that which one is the right thing and which one is the right place to follow. Sometimes they are repeated gyan, so you're wasting your time. So what is important, and through my own mistakes, I was not the best cat guy also, right? I had made my own mistakes, didn't really do in the right way. It turned out for me finally in a brighter side, so I'm happy and talking today. If day was bad, I would have on the lower side, and no such discussion might be happening. So through my own like learnings and through my own preparation, what I've realized is, as I said in the beginning, like dedication is important. First, routine is important. Second, and you just take one path. So whether it is, let's say, a path you're taking so and so coaching from one particular institute, just follow them. Like then, don't get distracted with your what my friend is doing, or oh, I have this book also which I might want to follow. There is another online open source content was there. These questions are also very important. I would probably not go in that direction. Take it up. I think people start generally little early. I started in July. A lot of people do generally take up like very seriously in July. Was it good enough time? Yes, it was good enough time, right? So the faster the better. I'm not saying you start slow because I started slow, but then even in July, if you are making sure that you are structured with your entire process, making sure you are spending your 2 hours or 1.5 hours every day and dedicatedly solving, that is great. But again, don't get overwhelmed, right? So follow one path. Like this is what I'm going to follow. I'll check mark everything there, and this brings back to my question or answer which you had asked me, which is the favorite topic or which is the key topic rather. For me, it was not. I made sure that everything I would cover in some sense. Did I able to cover everything? Always no. But obviously, humanly, it was probably not possible to make sure that I'm well versed with everything. But my attempt, at least, was to make sure that I go through a path, solve like this particular section, sub or chapter, and then next move to next, move to next, move to next. So that is something which I would probably say.
Okay. Right. So now let's talk about mock tests. तो यूजली क्या होता है कि स्टूडेंट्स पहले सोचते हैं कि हम कवर कर लेते हैं अपना सिलेबस एंड देन वील गिव स्टार्ट गिविंग मॉक्स यूजली बहुत एंड में मे बी लाइक अ मंथ बिफोर एग्जाम सो व्हेन डिड यू स्टार्टेड टेकिंग द मॉक्स
So mock test, what you said, right? I was also one of the guilty students there. Was it the right thing? Again, no. I have a friend. That guy, I think he was top 50 percentiler in his year, CAT 19 or 20, if I'm not wrong. He ended up getting graduate from IIM Ahmedabad and is in one of the consulting firms. So did well, right? I was speaking to him, if I am not wrong, and I before my prep again that point where you are confused, overwhelmed. Your friend has done really well. You really want to talk to them and all that. He told me the same thing, and that is where the confidence came to me. He didn't really prepare. He told me he was like he never formally prepared. Every weekend and with his job, every weekend he would come, give a mock test, come back. He's like, uh, you can prepare for a battle as much as you want in your home ground. Unless you actually get onto the ground, fight the real battle, you will not know where you are. Either you're too good or too bad, that is a different thing. But you don't know you where you are till the time you are just on your ground, just having that sword fight with in the air. You really have to have the sword fight with the actual person in the opposite side. And that is where actually he sort of helped me. And he followed only mock tests. I also kept on pushing, to be honest. I like, yes, let me at least touch everything and then only I will go because it won't make sense. But I would say you probably have to start as soon as possible. Even if you are, to my end, I can actually go as far as saying do it from the right first day, then going even 1 week of preparation, because you will know. Sometimes you know things, you understand. Like VARC for me was something which was always bad, right? But for few people, I've realized even though they didn't prepare, they had the knack of VARC, and they were able to sort of get a knack of it and were solving. So should they also be spending so much time there, and should I also be spending the same time there? Doesn't make sense. So mock test should be of, if you are a aspirant and you're thinking today on, let's say, 21st of March, you get up and you're like, oh, I want to prepare for CAT. First thing you do, give a mock. That will tell you where you are today. Like, you are which subject you really want to concentrate on, which part is something which you are not really understanding, and that makes your exam day. So my exam day strategy was not there because probably I was so well versed with the entire thing that didn't really matter to me that much, that, oh, how do I go with the flow and all that. It was natural. Like every day I'm cycling in the same path. Today when I'm cycling for the same competition, it makes it familiar. So that is what I would say. Mock is really important right from day one.
So in total, how many mocks did you give, if you remember the very?
I don't remember exactly the number. It's been some time, but then I did end up getting a couple of them. So don't really remember as such. But
Did
yeah.
you analyze them?
So I was supposed to be analyzing them. I agree that you had to. I did end up looking at it. So I did analyze them. Not that I didn't. But sometimes you want. A lot of people say you go back to your questions which you didn't solve. Go
Mm.
and understand how did you have to solve it and all that. Too much detail. I didn't like. In the ideal world, you should do it. I was a normal average kid, normal average human. Didn't really do that uh, extra analysis per se, that this is my strong area and all that. But I did have a look at it to understand where I'm going wrong, and then I would reflect back to those chapters again. To probably sometimes it was as simple as just I don't remember the formula, right? And so I what I would do is just, it was very simple. I didn't remember the formula. Let's say for the quant piece, go back, see the formula, and then I'm good to go. So if you ask me, did I overanalyze everything? How much time did I save and how much time did I take and all that? Honestly, to be honest, didn't really do that deep analysis. Where I'm going wrong? Okay, this subject, this question, why? Okay, this is the solution. Went through the solution, and that's pretty much it. Go and give another one. So I think that was my analysis.
Okay, okay, Pratyush. So when you were preparing for CAT, which colleges were there on your list?
I again not like any strange kid out there, the regular neighborhood guy. ABC you want to go for. NIT Surathkal is already like a pretty good BTech college, right? A top 10 colleges in the country, and I think perhaps the second NIT in the rank. So I was like, IIM ABC is something which I would want to go for it. I had a little different journey. So it was the first time I was not very sure. Then, like as I said in the beginning, right, I was divided. I'm 4 years, very heavy work ex. Probably should I be even going for a let's say full-time MBA in India, or a 2-year MBA, so to say, in India or not. So I was divided. So I was actually I had ABC and Blackie, whatever. Then I had some personal reasons to stay in IIT Bombay. So or sorry, in Bombay. So IIT Bombay looked like a very good. fit. Then so I had the same question. IIT में MBA भी होता है क्या? Like literally, I also didn't know. Then I read more about it and I realized, oh, it's really good, right? It's really fantastic. Today, when you ask me IIT, do you think IIT में करना चाहिए? I would probably actually do it again if it is IIT because of the circle and ecosystem I have. So we can talk about IIT Bombay probably sometime later. But then I had all the regular colleges in my head. I actually, when I was leaving my job, I was pretty sure I'm joining Bangalore. I had a pretty good waiting list, according to me, at least based on previous year movements. I will join Bangalore, and that was pretty much it. But it did move, not your day, right? And people will kill me for it, but I didn't really go for Lucknow interview also in the interview also because I was traveling that time to Singapore for my work part of it, and I tried to reschedule them. Even Bangalore, I had to reschedule. They did reschedule. Lucknow and all, they did not. So I ended up missing my interview. IIT Bombay was online, so I was fortunate I gave it. So not a good experience with respect to interviews because I didn't really prepare for interviews. That is was something which I didn't. I'm a sales guy. I like you put me in front of a person. I am somebody who likes to talk, and genuine conversations are my bottom line for any interview. You don't have to put yourself as like you're smart or so and so. Sorry, I'm dragging this answer a lot, but my story was little different per se. Any normal person, if you're doing MBA, why would you not give Lucknow interview? I wanted to not that I didn't want to, but I ended up not because I was traveling. So I thought probably I might not even go for a full-time MBA. Probably next time I will go for something else. Not my day, not my year. If you ask me, was I happy with 98.9? But also no, like honestly, like DILR score great, but then overall I was like, probably I could have done better. I didn't really focus that much, perhaps. And in the hindsight, even if you're 99.99, sometimes you always feel this, right? You could have done better. There's always a day you can do better. So I had regular college in mind, but then didn't turn out that well.
Okay. So, which all colleges did you get based on your scores?
Based on my score, I got a call from, as I said, right? I didn't get from Calcutta. I got from Ahmedabad. I got that they have that agriculture business management or something. So I did fill it up. I didn't really go for it, not what I wanted. So I didn't. Bangalore, I got it for Bangalore. I got it for the business analytics was. Sorry, I didn't really mention that. So the business analytics one. Indore, I had. Lucknow, I had. I had Kozhikode. I applied for IIT Bombay, so obviously IIT Bombay, and I didn't really apply for any other IITs than Bombay. And then I had cap calls. Honestly, I was pretty sure I'm not wanting to join cap. Nothing against those colleges. It's just that it was not part of my list. But I wanted to give the interview just to get a feel of it. And I applied for Shillong. I got a Shillong call also. So I did apply for that. Yeah, that is pretty much.
So you appeared only for IIT Bombay selection process.
I appeared for IIT Bombay and I am Bangalore. I am Shillong, CAP, and yeah, pretty much it.
So how was your experience of the selection process at IIMs?
I am Bangalore, a fantastic experience, honestly. They had asked me to come to the campus because I rescheduled, right? So they told me that you will have to come. I think the way they treat students was fantastic. It was like they had a fantastic. I think it was my online slot. They had a good buffet slash tea buffet, whatever you call it, right? For you, you can enjoy your snacks. When you entered, I was first one in the list. Right, and first one is always. I think you would have done few since in past that you are the first one in the interview always because you're clueless how the panel is. At least some people come before you, so you know, ki, oh, that guy is very strict, that guy is lenient, and something of the sort. Here, I was straight into it. But the professors, they were pretty good. I was like, okay, I in fact I had 4 years experience. I had no clue about what academics I studied. Right, I didn't know in NIT Surathkal also for that matter. So 4 years later, so what is thermodynamics, what is fluid dynamics, I didn't know. So professor and we were having a good chat about work X, and I was really happy. Then at one point, he actually came up and asked that, you know what, do you want me to ask you some academic questions? And I don't know what I was. I ended up actually telling them, sir, you may actually go ahead and ask academic questions, but only if you want to be disappointed. And he started laughing, and I started laughing, and he's like, okay, let me not go there. And it was a good chat. It was genuinely a good chat and a conversation. So I am Bangalore experience was great. I am Shillong was very bad for me. Really very bad. They asked me something on thermodynamics, something on like I remember one. So I come from army background, so they asked me about a field marshal. I told them SSFJ Manek Shaw. Now he's famous after the movie. That time movie was not released, and he's like, okay, tell me SSFJ is full form. I'm like, I don't know that. Like, if I didn't really understand. I'm not trying to like shame anybody on all that, but that particular experience, I like SSFJ Manekshaw's full name. What would I do with it, right? Bangalore experience was about my work ex. They really wanted to understand what I'm doing. IIT Bombay also, I'll share my IIT Bombay experience also separately, but then that was also similar. Shillong experience, I had a pretty like weird experience and didn't really do well. But and others I didn't really Lucknow and all I didn't go for, so I missed it.
Okay. So, what was the selection process like? What all rounds were there?
For IIT Bombay per se, or
For IIM.
so for IIM, like few of them, so it was mixed, right? So like Shillong, I remember had a VAT thing, if I'm not wrong. I hope my memory supports me, but yeah, VAT thing, and then you had the regular round. That round was for me. I don't know. So I think it was Shillong only, if I'm not wrong, because cap also I gave, right. So that was a like a very good conversation over online. They again asked me something on my work and everything. So it was again a normal conversation. Shillong, I think it was Shillong only which I'm able to recollect. So they asked me like the VAT thing. Then they asked me nothing on my experience. I don't remember putting the word ExxonMobil in my interview. Okay, I'm working for a world's largest publicly traded company, oil and gas company. I am working for 4 years, and I didn't even get a chance to do like have any discussion on ExxonMobil per se. So that was the experience. I am Bangalore. I think there was in the beginning I had to submit an SOP. So I submitted an SOP during the submission process. That was just a conversation, nothing there on the final day. IIT Bombay again was a conversation. Yeah.
Okay. So, do you remember what questions were asked in the interview and what you wrote in the SOP and something about that?
So I don't remember that exactly, honestly. What was the topic also? I totally remember with some time, but then I remember what was my SOP, what was my questions, particularly for Bangalore, because Bangalore experience was one of the best experience I had. All right, so straight I went in, I remember, and before they asking me anything, I ended up asking them, "How are you doing today?" And for them also, it was like generally, I do this. I'm a sales guy, right? So, if you want to move your power dynamics towards yourself, it's always better if you start asking. So instead of going scared and be like, "Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am," I would go, "Hi, good morning, everybody, and I hope you're doing well today, or how are you doing today? May I take a seat?" So I would shift the conversation to me myself. So they don't like even they want to start with something else. They have to answer me first because they also like So it started off that way, and then they didn't ask me, "Tell me about yourself," right? The Bangalore guys didn't really like the typical tell me about yourself didn't happen. They're like, how was your journey to Bangalore? That was a very different questions because he knew that, or probably he asked me, okay, where are you coming from? And I said Mumbai, and then tell me how was it yesterday, from Mumbai to Bangalore, and again it was a conversation then. So I ended up telling, and I went from my experience was I went from Mumbai to Delhi and took a night flight, and came to Bangalore. So it was a weird experience. So like, okay, why so much running around? So I told them that I'm in sales, and then they're like, oh, okay, you're in sales. So tell me more about your sales experience. And then he asked me on the sales part. Then he asked me on the industry I'm working, and then he asked me one thing which I didn't know. So I was like, he asked me some of my key customers, not customers, but the industry I'm working in. So I told him like I'm working with battery manufacturer. So he asked me, how does a battery work? That was a technical question which I had. I don't know exactly how battery works, but I know I sell polymer to them. I know about that. He's like, don't you should you not know because he's your customer? I should know. And then he asked me something on that. So I was again, then it switched to my college experience in terms of I was the president of my student council. So I had my SOP mentioned that I was a vice president of a Rotaract club. It's a like Rotary Club is a like a not-for-profit organization. Rotaract is a subsidiary for a college level student. I was vice president there. So those were my leadership questions. So you tell me a difficult situation you had where you had to handle a few things. Those were the questions. Then again, he tried to ask me something on academics. As I said you will be disappointed, so he never went there. Then he asked me that, do you want to ask some questions? And I remember I did ask him some questions. Like, how would you tell this experience would be? And he gave me a smile. He's like, any experience is a good experience. It was nice talking to you. So that was pretty much it. So it was very OKX driven. I don't remember any general knowledge as such. Only the battery thing came up. In between. Oh yeah, he did ask me. So the oil prices were fluctuating a lot that time. It was in the news. And we do. And I'm come from oil company. So he asked me on those like, what is your take on the current government actually buying something from Russia? The Russia-Ukraine war was happening. So what do you think that take is? He did ask me. I remember. Yeah, now I remember. It was a conversation. So that was the conversation. So very work-ex driven. Then even the general knowledge of work is driven, and then one technical question per se, and that's it.
Okay. So, what was your experience at IIT Bombay selection process?
Okay, I will be biased because I'm in IIT Bombay. But yeah, IIT Bombay I think was amazing experience. We so IIT Bombay first of all in my year was online, and they did it on a platform Gather. Okay, so it was not a Zoom meeting I'm waiting for. Gather is a platform where there are tables. There you are a avatar in that. There is you are actually a cartoon character in that. You can be running around. You can see your friends also. You can enter their table. The moment you enter the table, you are join their conversation. So it becomes a Zoom call. You come out of it, it becomes different. You actually walk into a room where there is document verification happening. You walk into a room where interview is happening. So it was a game. Okay, I was blew by that thing. I like IIT Bombay is like literally standing up to his name, like IIT. So till then I was very confused. MBA hota hai, nahi hota hai, IIT mein all that. I heard good reviews, yes, but then still. But this experience, I like, yeah, they are taking it notch ahead. Like there were, it's you're not staring into a blank screen waiting for your interview to join. You're actually walking around with your avatar there, like everybody's moving around, and it's like a game. It's a good platform. It's called Gather, right? And it was happening, and I was pretty blew by that fact. Then I ended up entering my panel, and the good part of this is you have an alum, you have a IIT professor, and you have a SOM like a School of Management SJMSOM professor also. I think so. I don't really know, can't remember those three, but there are three people. That is what I understood. And alum brings a very good perspective. They don't grill you on academics and all that. They are in industry. They know. So my conversation at IIT Bombay was pretty good. So again, it started off with like my I think there it didn't start off with my work ex. It started with my college, but then again, they in my college I had a startup. Okay, I think I had to submit few answers in the as part of the question they had given during the like the form time. So there I had mentioned my startup experience. So they spoke to me on startup. What was your startup about? What did you learn out of it and all that? Then they asked me something on my job. What do you do? Because my job, again, I did three things. So they were like, you help us understand, a little confused. What do you exactly do? Sales is something or operation or not. I explained that. Then they did, then in a way, I would not say grill, but then they did deep dive one level, two level downs into understanding what is the sustainability impact of being an oil and gas company. Like oil and gas, I was selling plastic. I literally used to sell plastic polymers, right? You're selling plastic. You are from oil and gas. Both are infamous. So tell me about sustainability. And then they switched to the budget. So budget had some sustainability. Nirmala Sitharaman had announced few things on sustainability, green hydrogen and all that. So they asked me, do you know? Of like part of my job to know. So I knew it. I was fortunate. They didn't really bother asking anything around the academics front. Nothing per se. right? Conversation on which is your favorite book did you read? What did you have happen to read sports? Sorry, did you happen to read any news? I told them yes, yesterday I did. And what was the news? And it was I think some cricket match happening, and we spoke on that. Like, so it was not like I had to tell some foreign ministry, this is doing this and all. I told them it's cricket news, which I remember, and they spoke on that. So it was a pretty good conversation I had then. Any strict interview for the.
Okay. So, like, did you prepare for the interview or did you just went ahead?
Uh, so again, I didn't prepare for interview. Honestly, I didn't prepare that well for CAT also for that matter. But then I didn't really prepare for interview. I had a clear thing. Like I discussed with my parents because my parents were like, I was confused, right? 4 years, should I do an MBA? Should I not do an MBA? So I like, okay, I will give interview. But I told them, if somebody asks me academics after 4 years of my work ex, I don't want to go to the college. That was my thing. I don't know if it is the right thing or a wrong thing. I'm not saying their parameters is right or wrong. It is not meant for me if you're judging me on my academics after 4 years. So I could afford to say that because I was in that 4 year brink. So not the best time to probably join MBA according to a lot of people. Should I go for an executive and all that? So I was like, if not this, I'll go for an executive MBA. Few people open up in 4 years, few people open up in 5 years. Work ex. So that is what I thought. So essentially, that is where I found myself, right? Um, I was very sure that I would probably not be regretting if there is an interview. I was pretty sure if they ask me about my academics and I'm not doing well, I'm okay to have it. So I didn't really prepare for that. Work ex, I was thorough. I did, as part of my preparation, what I did is I went through my SOP resume, made sure whatever I had put on to my SOP, it does make sense. Like, and I can defend it. That is the only part I did. I didn't really put anything which looks fancy, but I don't know about it. Right? I got a research paper award, and I don't really remember in Surathkal why did I get it. I didn't really put it, right? Because I don't want to be grilled on that. So that was the only preparation. Few learnings I had. I think the Shillong was the learning, right? I told you they didn't ask me anything on ExxonMobil, and I thought it was also because I didn't really tell about it very well in the about tell me about yourself question. So ideally, tell me about yourself is where you drive your conversation from. I should have spoken more on my ExxonMobil experience and how that worked out and stuff, and they would have probably asked me more on that. So that was a learning, quote unquote, I would say.
Okay. So, did you convert IIT, IIM Bangalore?
Yeah, I'm Bangalore. My waitlist was pretty good. I remember. I don't remember exactly. So based on whatever previous year data, I was supposed to be getting in. So I was very confident I'm getting IIM Bangalore, and that was the actual reason I ended up resigning because I was like, oh, notice period is also there. Then it was not converting. I like a spot on to Pakka. I'm getting into IIM Bangalore. Okay, and it was not really happening. Then IIT Bombay was starting up. They told like you have to submit fees and all. Like, okay, now that I'm in notice period, I'm probably cannot go back. At least let me join IIT Bombay. And from IIT Bombay also I'll leave and join IIM Bangalore because quarter on I will convert. I'm pretty sure. But I don't know as luck would have it, IIM Bangalore was not happening. And then I was confused whether what should I do. Now I'm jobless. I'm with IIT Bombay already. I think 1 week has passed. And then I like probably this is what is meant for me, destined for me, and I said stayed back in IIT.
Okay. So, talking about profile building, how much importance do you think it holds when it comes to final selection?
Uh, for me, I think what got me, I think, because not an ideal student, if you would ask me, right? I'm not a best person when it came to CAT. I'm not the best, like CAT preparation. Not the person when it comes to interview. Not an ideal situation. Like if you want to give my example, probably it's a bad example because it will not sustain. What good I bring to the table is the profile which I have, right? So I like the volunteering experience of Road Track Club, the leadership experience of being a president of a college, the experience of actually going through a couple of different roles in ExxonMobil. The fact that I used to dwell a lot into different zones per se. My interview ended up becoming those conversations. So my like I was pretty sure if you talk to me, you will remember me in an interview because I had done a couple of things. It was not a regular Surat Kal and then work experience and gone. I had a high during, I was a global awardee in ExxonMobil also. So a global awardee in ExxonMobil is a pretty big thing. So if I've been a global awardee, there was something which I have done right. I've done something right. I was the Asia Pacific awardee as well. So if you ask me, are these things important? They are important. So whatever you're doing, whether it's VTech, whether it's your job, wherever you are, you really have to make sure that you do it well. Have some like the spikes, so to say. In MBA slang, we call it spikes for your resume, right? So have those spikes because if you're not prepared well, these are the things like everybody's preparing well for the CAT score, everybody's preparing well for the interview. What differentiates you probably is also the profile. So I think for me, profile saved me. Like I had a pretty um, good profile according to me. I don't know if people will agree or not, but I think I had a pretty good profile and that saved me.
Right, right. So, how is your experience at IIT Bombay so far?
My most favorite question is my experience at IIT Bombay. I do write recently tried to write a couple of times about IIT Bombay experience on LinkedIn as well. I think I could not have asked for anything better. I don't regret going to any IIM ABC or anything but IIT Bombay because of one fact. You enter into a college which has 14,000 students from 13 different academic departments, 30 different sections or center of learnings. It is something which is amazing because I'm a person like I'm interested in, let's say, entrepreneurship. And here you have one of the best setup in entrepreneurship in IIT Bombay, right? There are like, essentially our team is actually, there is a professor, he is from Harvard Medical School. He had a breakthrough, like after 10 years of research, he had a breakthrough and now some of our students are actually working with him on that technology project, giving the management side of it, right? Where does it happen? Like it would, and in today's world, technology and management together goes. Like techno managerial or techno commercial is the go ahead, right? In the era of AI and Chat GPT and whatnot. So IIT Bombay experience makes sure that I am exposed to that firsthand. Like everybody's talking about Chat GPT or Gemini and Copilot and whatnot. Our guys at IIT Bombay, the BTech guys of the AI community, actually has made their own GPT. Like it's called Institute GPT. It's their own platform. So if you ask that platform, oh, who is Pratyush Giri, and they will actually tell you about Pratyush Giri. In the era of AI, when it's one thing you use ChatGPT, it's another thing you build ChatGPT or your own GPT, right? And here I'm sitting with those students who are doing that, and that it is a great experience. Like the people who are at IIT Bombay, they're one of the cream, and I'm part of the E-cell here as well. All the BTech students, one of the finest in the country, quote unquote. And when you hang out with them in even during your normal days, it's amazing. And apart from that, like the co-curricular piece of it also is pretty good. Like for example, there are people who are interested in sports. People generally, what sports you have in typical college? You have, oh, great tennis, basketball, football, cricket grounds, and whatnot. Here we have a rock climbing unit. We have a water polo team. We have a frisbee team frisbee club who participates, I think, in national and international, trying to go international, I think, in terms of their sport infrastructure. So, point being that you're exposed to such a wide community and it's great. And at the same time, at IIT Bombay, you have 120 MBA batch, right? So you enjoy the vastness which a 14,000 student community brings you, and also enjoy the niche of actually being part of a strong community of or a close niche community of 120 students where you know everybody. A lot of answers during YMBR, I want to network. When you have like a batch of 120, you do genuinely network because you actually have a bandwidth to know everybody, perhaps in one layer down. Then there's just the superficial layer of, oh, I know his name or he's in my batch. A lot of my MBA students or like the MBA batchmates from different IIMs, I asked them, oh, do you know this person? I think I met him. They're like, "Ah, I've heard the name, but probably didn't really interact because huge scholar, right? So they are good things there. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but then here the benefit you bring onto the table is amazing. In the era of techno management, I think there is no better place than being at an IIT where you have probably exposure to technology firsthand. And Mumbai as a like location gives you a lot of advantage. We have like a lot of prominent active like industrialists or speakers coming every day now and here, right? Because access to them is pretty easy. They are put up in Mumbai. You can talk to them. Probably in any other city, which not a tier one city, you may not have it. Like
Mhm.
so, yeah, my experience has been great.
Great, great. So, like, are there any guest lectures at IIT Bombay?
There are too many guest lectures at IIT Bombay. So we have, and so SOM itself, like the SJM SOM, individually have a lot of guest lectures. We go by the name Continuum and Dikshas. They are two different parts of it. But at the same time, there are a lot of guest lectures at IIT Bombay level as well. As I told, I'm an entrepreneur, like inclined person. So I remember there was E Summit. I think one of the biggest in Asia and definitely the largest in India. And I got a call and they wanted somebody to moderate the session for Pharmacy, like prepare the question for Pharmacy's founders and all that, and Coin D6 founder. I was right there, like sitting with that founder for a couple of minutes, and understanding what questions we can frame and what we can ask. Like so, guest lecture is one thing. They come, they go. There is opportunities like these where you are backstage engaging with the founders, engaging with these stalwarts, and actually having a conversation. Not only from an SGM standpoint, but also from a IIT Bombay ecosystem standpoint. So that is something which is really great. So here the problem is you have to choose which where you want to go rather than you getting to know, oh, this is the activity today I want to do. Here every there are so many things that you sometimes have to prioritize which session I want to go and which not.
Mhm. So, pursuing an MBA from IIT, does it have a management aspect to it, or is it still inclined towards engineering?
It is totally management. A lot of people have this like preconceived bias that IIT may MBA again. I think I've been repeatedly saying that. Is there the MBA in IIT and how is it, right? Our faculties, I think the pedagogy which we bring to the table is also one of the finest in the country, right? I think there are certain courses in finance, if I'm not wrong. Don't quote me anywhere because I don't really know if it is um, actually true, but to what I've heard, it is only offered in IIM Ahmedabad and here, like one of these subjects in algo trading, and which is the upcoming field, right? Ahmedabad and IIT Bombay. Few of the courses, like there is like in operations, a lot of people teach operations. We have something called behavioral operations, and that is something which is hardly one or two institute in the country are taking up. So pedagogy, which IIT Bombay brings to you, is right there on competitive to all the top IIMs, whether or not you take like Blackies or not, you will find ourselves right there in terms of academics. So, and these are the professors who are one of the finest in the country. There are like we have professors in different domains who are visiting faculty to IIMs Ahmedabad. I'm being taught by somebody who is a regular occurrence in IIM Mumbai and IIM Ahmedabad, and he is our faculty, right, in the field of HR. We have professors who are after. I think one of our professors also is associated with Wharton University, one of the best in the world, and happy to spend some time there. And in fact, our classrooms are pretty great. Why? Because also corporate finance, one of the subjects everybody goes through in any MBA course. We remember sitting in the classroom wherein a professor who is an ex-McKinsey, ex-IIM Calcutta, teaching us. Amazing guy. But along with it, there is another guy who is the ex CEO of National Stock Exchange and ex CEO of IDFC, or an ex C-suite of IDFC, sitting right there in the classroom and teaching us. So there is not only the academician point of view, there is ex CEOs of like Maruti Suzuki, and then ex CEO of National Stock Exchange, who are actually taking courses for us. So they are first-hand industrialists who come from industry and tell you. So from I have no complaints in what management I am learning, because I'm pretty sure the pedagogy I'm exposed to is great. But yes, the technical part of it, even though it is like you will think it is heavy, it is in ideally something which is dependent on you. You want to take it up, you take it up. But if you are in IIT Bombay, you why not you would take it up, right? Some of the brightest kids of BTechs are sitting here. I would want to make sure that I leverage on their knowledge and understand what is going on in the world in terms of um, technology. And technology is definitely changing the world, so why not use it? So that is probably my answer to it.
All right, great. So now coming to a few lighter questions. What do you usually do to get away from the stress of MBA life?
I am glad that you asked with an assumption that there is a stress in MBA life. So there is no question about is there stress in MBA or not. It is there. There is no doubt. It's a very hectic, fast-paced course. Every day you're doing a few things. So yes, there is stress, no doubt. But yeah, what do you do? So here, like to wind down per se, there are a lot of activities you can do inside IIT Bombay itself. Uh, to an extent, like, we have, I think someone was telling me there are close to 50, 60 or more clubs at a institute level, in cultures, in sports, in terms of extracurricular activities. So you can wind down the way you want. There is a dedicated club for just folklore or the folk music per se, right? It's not music club, it's folk music club, right? So even if you're interested in that zone and that is where you find your calling in terms of where I want to chill and just move my stress away, that is where people go. There is dedicated music club, there is dance club, there is hip hop club, there is non-hip hop or whatever contemporary club. I am not a dancer, I don't really know the exact clubs, but then point being that yeah, there is a space for everybody, right? You are actually the IIT Bombay, like it's a big community. They're doing fashion show. I know my batchmates have gone for fashion show and like walk across the ramp in one of the shows recently, and that is where they are moving out from their stress-free life. So here, what we do is a lot at IIT Bombay. I am somebody who's interested in entrepreneurship, so I end up talking to a lot of ESL kids and discussing with them. And somebody who is like, we have one of the best incubators in the country called Sign. You get an opportunity to actually be talking to these because they are cohabitated with you in the same institute. Talk to them. So that is where my stress goes away because I talk to these people and stress comes back because of what am I doing? These guys are doing great work. So there are plethora of opportunities. There is no one answer to it. I told you sports, like if rock climbing is how you remove your stress, why not rock climb in IIT Bombay, right? So there are a lot of these different ways you deal with your stress at IIT levels.
Right. So before we end, how would you describe life in a day of an IT Bombay student?
I'm always happy to ask IIT Bombay. I'm very, very passionate about my college. So thank you for that question. Our day here is pretty dynamic. In terms of, so we have academics is from mostly half of the day. So you have 9 to 6 regular classes. But in that also based on your subjects choice and all that, we it is little different. So here at least, so one thing which I just thought to mention before I answer that, in other colleges you have a trimester, right? In 3 phases in the year, we have 4 phases in the year. So what it helps us do is we cover a lot many courses. So you actually, and I again would like to quote what I said, right? MBA is a breadth driven course, not a depth driven course. So here you do cover a lot of these different subjects. But and because of that, we do spend half of day in the academics. That is how you start your day. And once you are out at 6 o'clock, we are like those kids who are in a candy shop and there are 10,000 candies present and you are just grabbing whatever you're getting it. So a typical day is you get your academics done, and then once you are out of your academics, you are enjoying the infrastructure of IIT Bombay ecosystem. So you will find students making sure that they utilize the sports infrastructure. Then they go and do some of the, like yesterday I was up with till 5 a.m. With some of the IIT Bombay BTech students discussing on some of the administration. Like I'm a general secretary here, they were general secretary in their part. How do we bring some changes, exchange the good behaviors or practices which we have and all these things. So people do tend to engross themselves a lot. So our average day at IIT Bombay is very different for every student because of the opportunity you have. When you have 50, 60 clubs, what you can tell is an average, right? Everybody is involving themselves in different. So people do spend a lot of time in academics. If they are interested, they do spend a lot of time in sports or extracurricular. And then a typical MBA life, you have a lot of case studies, a lot of reading, pre-reading to do. So once you're back from your IIT Bombay high, you come back at night, you know that you have to read, or early morning you have to read few things. Obviously, everybody doesn't read, so I'm giving you an ideal answer. But people, you have to complete your assignments, complete your um, like post academics part of it, and then you start your day again. So yeah, it is a pretty dynamic life, and Mumbai is a pretty good place even if you want to hang out in general, right? So Powai is a great area. You have your own lake inside IIT Bombay premises, not exactly inside, but like it covers around 60%, if I'm not wrong, of the lake. You have a hill inside the campus to climb. So if you want to hike, you have a hill as well to hike. So you in Mumbai, in the hustle bustle of Mumbai, if you have a lake and a hill, you are doing the right things in life to get something of this sort in the hustle bustle of Mumbai, if you ask me. So yeah, you spend a lot of time in and around campus and outside as well. Like few people have ended up becoming a stand-up comic from here because it's Mumbai, and why not? So that is pretty much my day at Bombay.
Yeah, IIT Bombay sounds fun.
Yeah, next time we should do this face to face, probably at IIT Bombay. We'd love to host you.
Yeah, sure, sure. So thank you, Pratyush, for joining us today. It was a very amazing experience, whatever I learned about IIT Bombay. It was really fun, very informative, very interactive. Thank you, Pratyush. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this session helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. For more information on IIT Bombay and CAT preparation, check the description box below.